Ooh, just got home. Well, today I want to make a video on my Google Pixel 2 XL, and also I'll be unboxing this Google Pixel 3 replacement from my insurance company. I will a little bit pros and cons on my experience with Google Pixel 2. This would be my first video. Hopefully it's helpful. I'm not a tech person, first of all, but I am a user and I want to give my opinions on my experience for the past 8 months for my Google Pixel. And I want to give some comparison of my experience with Google Pixel and iPhone 6 because that's my previous phone. Yeah, I got my iPhone, first of all, I got my iPhone when it first came out, so that was back in 2014. I lost it in 2018 last year, in May, which was getting close to my goal of using the length of goal for using the iPhone, because iPhone at the time was $400 some dollar, but mine was 16 gig, so it's the cheapest one they have. But because of the price, I like to compare to my flip phone before, and flip phone at the time was about $100 back in 2010, 2009, and each one can last about 2 years for $100 a phone. So because iPhone is $400, my expectation for iPhone was I can use up to 2020. But besides, my phone got lost when I was driving because I set the phone on top of the car. So I would say my iPhone 6 always been a pretty reliable phone. I don't have too much complaint on it except for the storage. Storage on my iPhone, I think it was pretty ridiculous small. Every so often I would be going on to Facebook to upload some photos or video to free up the space. With Google Pixel 2, I never had an issue so far. The storage, there's always been more space on here. I never had to worry about, hey, I need to free up space to take new photos. And I would say a lot of feature on Google Pixel is much better than the iPhone I have. It is a newer phone. It is a little more expensive than the iPhone 6. So I did have my iPhone for a number of years. And I dropped many times while it's in the case and with a screen protector, same with my Google Pixel. But I think iPhone is much more durable for at least the 6th generation. That's the one I used it. I never had a cracked screen. I did have to replace a couple of times of the screen protector and couple of the case. The case never been damaged, I just replaced them. But there never been a damage like this, where on my Google Pixel there's a pretty big cracked screen. If I turn it off, you will be able to see right there. So how I get this crack, it was pretty interesting. Actually, it surprised me real. So it's a pretty small car, and another time I would listen to my phone or music or use GPS on this phone, but that day I had my phone face down, sitting on my knee while I was driving. And then when I step out of the car, the phone drops. It was in the case, and I saw a little crack at the time. I thought was a screen protector, but later when I peeled the screen protector off, it turns out no, it was screen. I was actually so shocked about this. And so far in my experience, 8 months experience with Google Pixel was not the best, but there are good thing about this phone. For example, the audio is amazing, photo is amazing, storage is fantastic. I never had any problem with this storage. And gaming is very, very smooth on this phone. The image, it's incredible. The only problem I had was this crack and the battery life. The battery life on this phone compared to iPhone, yes, it lasts much longer, but for whatever reason, my car doesn't like to charge up Google Pixel. So it took me about a month to figure it out that if I get a secret plug in the with a USB, the secret plug with USB, if I connect that to my phone, it would charge a little bit better. But compared to when I was charging iPhone, or right now if my friends in my vehicle with their iPhone just need to plug in with the USB charger, it charges out no problem within 2 hours in a car drive. It get to 78%, not a problem. But with this phone, if my phone is down to like 20%, for 2 hours, maybe it will charge to 50%. For whatever reason, it's just very slow. And I thought that was just my car that does that, but when I was using occasionally when I'm driving my sister's Honda Accord 2018, for the first day when I was driving her car, this phone went from 13% to 0% while it's plugged in. I'm not sure why it does that, but the second day when I used the same plug, same USB charger, it charged a little bit better. At least it didn't fall to 0%, but it kind of stayed at 13%, 14%, up and down. So all these opinions I spoke so far, it's just my personal experience with my Google phone. I have friends who use Google phone, they had a great experience, and they think that's just users' issues. So I find quite inconsistent with this phone sometimes. I think my device has some kind of defect. I truly think that. I think if you get a Google Pixel, you might have a better experience than I did. Because for example, if sometimes I want to turn off this power, right now it doesn't show any problem, but right now I just click it one time, it turned to this camera. Where for this camera to come on, usually you have to double click it to turn it on, but there are many times where I only click it once and it went to cameras instead.